We strongly condemn this barbaric act of terrorism. I wish to assure President Bush once again and the United States government of our unstinted cooperation in the fight against terrorism.
Following the attacks on September 11, 2001, Pakistan found itself at the center of American attention. Islamabad chose to fall in with the Americans, even though there was considerable support for the Taliban and Al-Qaeda on the streets of Pakistan.
We are from the Allah. USA. Most great of Syria is Bush.
Islamabad saw war looming and desperately sought a last-minute solution. A senior delegation was sent to Taliban leader Mullah Omar in Afghanistan to convince him to give up bin Laden. Among the delegation was General Mahmoud Ahmed, head of Pakistan's intelligence agency, the ISI, and also Mufti Nizamuddin Shamzai, the respected head of the Benori Mosque in Karachi.
وذهبنا معهم يعني مع جنرال محمود إلى قندهار واستقبلونا هناك يعني واستقبلتنا الحكومة طالبان وبعد ذلك ذهبنا وكان يوم الجمعة فصلينا الجمعة وبعد صلاة الجمعة ذهبنا إلى لقاء ملا عمر فرحب بنا وكلمنا معه يعني كلام عادي كما كان في أول اللقاء. بعد ذلك تكلم هذا جنرال محمود بواسطة واحد من ترجمانه وكلم معه يعني بالكلام كما قال لنا. وبعد ذلك قال نحن يعني جينا إليكم وهذا العلماء الباكستانيون كلنا جينا إليكم لنبين أمامكم هذا الأمور الثلاث. فقال ملا عمر الأمر الأول الذي قال يعني أنتم قلتم لو كان يجمع العلماء من العالم الإسلامي أو الخبراء ونحن نلقي أمامهم قضية أفغانستان وقضية الشيخ أسامة بن لادن وقضية القاعدة. فقال نحن يعني أنا قلت هذا قبل ذلك ولكن أما الآن فالأحوال مضطربة ولا نستطيع يعني أن نصل إلى أمر أو نصل إلى حل القضية بهذا. أما إذا كانت الأحوال عادية وليست الأحوال مضطربة فهذا الأمر يمكن أن نصل بهذا الطريق أو بهذا إلى حل القضية. ولكن أما الآن في هذه الأحوال يعني الأحوال مضطربة ونحن نخاف يأتوا إلينا اليوم أو غدا أو نحن نخاف منهم القصف وغير ذلك. فأما في هذه الأحوال الخائفة وأحوال المضطربة فلا.
Al Jazeera journalist Ahmed Zaidan visited the famous Islamic seminary or madrasa of Darul Uloom Haqqaniya, run by Sami al-Haq. Many of the top Taliban leaders once attended this madrasa, including Mullah Omar. For this reason, Sami al-Haq has been described as the father of the Taliban. He spoke to Al Jazeera about the crucial stage following the 9/11 attacks, when America pressured Pakistan to request the handover of bin Laden.
मौलाना फजल रहमान का मुझे पता लगा कि वो आ रहा है इस्लामाबाद इसी सिलसिले में, तो मैंने मौलाना फजल रहमान से टेलीफोन पर बात की। तो मैं जहाँ रहता था इस्लामाबाद में, मैंने कहा तुम सीधे मेरे पास आ जाओ। तो वो आया फिर मेरे पास रात को हवाई अड्डे से, तो मैंने उसको भी कहा कि ये तो बहुत बड़ा ख़तरनाक खेल है, हम इसमें क्यों शरीक हों। और सारे जहाज़ भर के ले गए और शाम को इसी तरह आ गए मुँह लटकाए हुए। हमने कहा ये तो अपने आप को बेइज्जत करने वाली, हम पाकिस्तान के एजेंट क्यों बने, ये तो पाकिस्तान की एजेंट ही है कि पाकिस्तान एक वफद भेजे अमेरिका को खुश करने के लिए। तो चुनांचे वही हुआ कि मुल्ला उमर ने वो बात नहीं मानी। उसने कहा कि हमारी मौत भी आ जाए या ज़िंदगी भी आ जाए, गैरत का मामला है, पठान वैसे भी, और किसी को पनाह दी है और पनाह एक मोहसिन को दी है।
Not all Muslim scholars in Afghanistan backed the stand taken by Mullah Omar. Some suggested bin Laden should leave the country to avoid the expected American onslaught. This threatened the Taliban with division among their own ranks.
कुछ दबे अल्फाज में बिलवासिता कहा कि ये बात की बात है कि उसामा निकल जाए तो अच्छा होगा। तो इधर बहुत मुजाहिदीन सख्त नाराज़ हो गए, गर्म हो गए। इत्तेफाक से उसी वक्त जलालुद्दीन हक्कानी यहाँ पाकिस्तान में था, उसको पता लगा तो उसने बहुत सख्त शोर मचाया, मेरे घर में एक्शन लिया और टेलीफोन किया मुल्ला उमर को बार बार, और वहाँ सफ़ीर भी आया था इत्तेफाक से उस वक़्त जो था।
The bond of loyalty between Mullah Omar and bin Laden seemed unbreakable. Even Saudi Arabia had tried to break it years earlier. In 1998, the chief of the Saudi intelligence service had held a heated meeting with Mullah Omar in a bid to convince him to hand over bin Laden.
فعلا جاء وزير رئيس الاستخبارات السعوديه تركي الفيصل، وجاء معه الشيخ عبد المحسن التركي او عبد الله بن المحسن التركي وزير الاوقاف السعودي وزير الدعوه والارشاد في السعوديه. وصلوا في طائره سعوديه خاصه وجاءوا لملا عمر باسلوب يعني حتى اسلوب استفزازي فيه نوع يعني حتى كذا من استغبال الطرف الاخر، يعني انت وعدتنا تعطينا بلد نعطينا اياه ناخذه معنا ونمشي. فالملا عمر قال ايش؟ قال هو كرتون بطاطا ولا كرتون طماط تاخذوه وتمشوا، وانا متى وعدتكم؟ قالوا انت وعدتنا في المره الاولى وكذا كذا. فغضب الملا عمر، نحن لا نسلم مسلم للكافر ولن نسلم بلاد ومن معه.
In 2006, Al Jazeera reporter Ahmed Zaidan travelled to Helmand province in southern Afghanistan to meet one of the leaders of the Taliban. The trip took several days of moving from one place to another, before finally arriving at a location to meet Mullah Dadullah, one of the Taliban's senior military commanders. He explained why the Taliban refused to hand over bin Laden, even though it had resulted in the American invasion of Afghanistan and had cost the Taliban their position of power.
نو کوم یو مجاهد چې دا ښکاره سي چې دغه زما هم نظر او هم نشینه دي، هغه به بالکل په زړه کې ځای ورکوي او سر به پر قرباني. موږ ته خدای او رسول دا ویلي چې یو مسلمان یو چا ته سپارل جواز نه لري او بل د خپل ورور سپارل. دا خو زموږ یو ورور په جهاد کې او دا زموږ یو اسلامي ملګری و، نو ځکه امیرالمؤمنین و هغه ته د سختې خبرې وکړلې او اخر خپله بچي یې برخراب کړ.
With bin Laden dead, questions are raised about whether Al-Qaeda will be able to orchestrate any major attacks in the future. This footage, released by Al-Qaeda, offers a glimpse into a possible rudimentary, non-conventional weapons program. A new book had revealed a plot by Al-Qaeda to kill New Yorkers by spreading cyanide gas in the subway in 2003. The plan was reportedly called off 45 days before it was set to occur by Al-Qaeda's second-in-command, Ayman al-Zawahiri. Hamid Mir was the last reporter to meet and interview bin Laden. The meeting took place in November 2001. In the interview, bin Laden claimed that Al-Qaeda possessed chemical and nuclear weapons.
The most important thing was that Osama bin Laden clearly admitted that yes, we have nuclear weapons as a deterrent, and he made it clear to me that if Americans are going to use nuclear weapons against us, then we have the right to respond in the same manner. That was very clear. I put the same question to him in 1998 and he ignored my question in 1998. After 3 years, in November 2001, he admitted, yes, we have nuclear weapons, which means that in 3 years, he was trying his best to acquire and deploy his weapons. And I must tell you, don't underestimate nuclear designs of Al-Qaeda. A person whose name is Adnan al-Shukri Juma, he was given the task to smuggle the enriched uranium inside United States of America. Between 1999 and 2001, he smuggled more than 90 kilograms of enriched uranium inside United States of America from the Mexico. And now Adnan Shukri ul-Juma, I can tell you that he is the next Muhammad Atta, and he will be responsible for the next 9/11 inside United States of America, in which they can use some kind of dirty bombs.
I can't rule that out now. I know that they have embarked on programs to acquire and develop these weapons, certainly chemical, biological weapons, and we know they have developed toxins, poisons, and they have used them, and they intend to expand this program.
American concerns were heightened by reports of contacts between Al-Qaeda and Pakistani scientists. Nuclear scientist Sultan Bashiruddin Mahmud, who had met bin Laden, was arrested and interrogated by Pakistani intelligence. He was later released, apparently unable to provide any clear information. Bin Laden's former bodyguard ruled out that Al-Qaeda had non-conventional weapons before the 9/11 attacks. But he revealed there had been a program underway to try to acquire chemical or biological weapons.
هذا صحيح طبعا. هذه حتى الامريكان حصلوا على نسخ في المركز الاعلامي اللي وضعوا ايديهم عليه في قندهار، وجدوا نسخ تدريبات للشباب مثلا على نوع من الغازات ونوع من السموم، فكان التركيز على موضوع الغازات اكثر. اخونا ابو خباب عليه رحمه الله يعني ركز كثير جدا في هذه الامور وركز تدريب هذه الامور بحكم خبرته الكيماويه وفي الامور هذه، لكن فعلا كان في تركيز للحصول على نوع من الاسلحه تكون ذات اثر فتاك سريع جدا، فكان عمليه التجارب على الكلاب والارانب هذه يعني حصلت فعلا، وكان في شباب كثير تدربوا على هذا الامر. فانا اقول لك الان يوجد عناصر كثير جدا تدربت على هذا الامر، لانه كان في معسكرات مغلقه. ابو خباب كان لديه معسكر مغلق، فكان في عناصر هذه ما حد يعرف من هي، ميزانيه مغلقه، ما كان احد يعرف الا ابو خباب هو يعرف هذه الشخصيات، فكانوا ياتوا يتدربوا ويخرجوا. من هم؟ كيف طريقه عقليتهم؟ جنسياتهم كانت.
We know that they have, as an example, anthrax. They did develop some of this in Afghanistan, and Al-Qaeda and affiliates, they've got some low-grade toxins. So there was an example in the UK of ricin that's made from castor beans. That was part of an Al-Qaeda cell that developed this.
After the fall of the Taliban and the flight of bin Laden, the Americans discovered documents in former Al-Qaeda bases. The documents indicated the group were much closer than had initially been thought to gaining nuclear and biological weapons capabilities. American concerns led to the arrest and interrogation of one of Pakistan's leading orthopedic surgeons.
How can an orthopedic surgeon be involved in making biological weapons? I asked the Americans this question, and they said, "You are right, but still there is a possibility." The allegation against me was of providing biological weapons, chemical weapons, of sending dialysis machine to Osama bin Laden. It's a load of total rubbish. I have no idea of what anthrax and chemical weapons are. What they were telling me was that the supplies that I sent for the Jalalabad ward, they were antiseptic solutions to wash your hands before surgery. And they told me that they were dual purpose chemicals and they could be used to make bombs. And I mean, it's amazing. You cannot reason with such logic.
The killing of Al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden in May 2011 may be a huge blow to the organization. But its decentralized nature means it has the potential to carry out attacks on any number of targets. Many dedicated Al-Qaeda militants and supporters will no doubt be ready to give their lives in revenge for the death of bin Laden.
It's a bit like a nuclear scientist who's created the atom bomb. You can go around and arrest all the nuclear scientists, but the bomb has been made.
Bin Laden fought to expel the Soviets from Afghanistan. Years later, his Al-Qaeda group led to the Americans invading the same country. Bin Laden was to claim, according to one journalist who interviewed him, that this was his goal all along.
قال لي أن أمنية حياته إذا عاش، إذا كتبت له الحياة، أن يجر الأمريكان إلى المنطقة، أن يجرهم حيث يقاتلهم في بلد إسلامي أو بلد عربي. قال إذا أنا نجحت في جر الأمريكان وقاتلتهم على أرضي في هذه الحالة، يعني سأكون حققت نصرا كبيرا. يعني اعترف لي بأنه من الصعب جدا أن تقاتل الأمريكان داخل أمريكا.
His last words to me were, "Mr. Robert, from this mountain upon which you're sitting, we helped to destroy the Soviet army and to destroy the Soviet Union," which was a bit of an exaggeration but had some truth in it. And then he said, "And Mr. Robert, I pray to God that he permits us to turn America into a shadow of itself." That next morning we went down the mountainside and there was a comet passing through the heavens. And the Al-Qaeda men and I got out of the car to look at the comet. And one of them said to me, this is not bin Laden, but at that moment one of his people said, "Mr. Robert, when you see this comet, it means there will be a great war."
Although bin Laden is now dead, Al-Qaeda affiliates across the world are likely to remain active. Meanwhile, American troops remain in Afghanistan, where conflict is likely to continue.